All right, so here we are. We have created our account, have installed the game, and now we are actually creating our character. And at this point, you should see a window that's much like this. Here you can select your gender, and for this one, we're going to select this one, a female, and we're going to name our character Timothy. And we can go through here and change all the different attributes such as face. We can change skin tone pretty much to how we want. We can change the hairstyle the way we want, and we can drag our character left and right so that we can actually get a better look at how it actually looks. If you use the scroll wheel on your mouse, you can actually kind of zoom in to get a better look at the actual styling and how you want to set up your character is kind of up to you, but you can click through all the various different choices on this. And for this character, let's go with a blonde, or better yet, let's go with a red, or maybe even a darker shade, maybe a black. We can change the eye colors to pretty much whatever we want, and we can press create. At this point, it actually shows us everything that we've already set up, okay? And at this point, we need to select a server. The actual server that you want to select is based on what country you're in, basically. If you're over in Europe, you want to choose a server that has the EU right here after the actual name, such as like satisfaction, understanding, and that's pretty much the two that we have set up for Eastern Europe. All other ones are located in the United States. Confidence, adventure, courage, serenity, determination, rebellion, liberation, and we have one other type of server that we can go to. Now, this server is a specialized server. This is not one that you can actually create claims on. This is basically set up as a museum of different buildings and stuff that have been created by players, and that is the Foundation Museums. The museums house the different races that will be located in Everquest next, and through competitions, things that people have created in the game have gone to these islands or these different Foundation museums, so we kind of want to stay away from that one. Now, if we come up here, let's pick one, and let's go with courage, and hit play. Now, at this point, it's going to put you on what is called a Tier 1 or Tier 1 island. At this point, each island is broken up into different types of tiers. You have Tier 1, Tier 2, Tier 3, and Tier 4. On these different tiered islands are different types of material currently. Soon, that will all change, and each island, no matter which one you get put on, the top level of ground will be considered the Tier 1. Right here, this would be considered the top of the island, or the where you would actually walk across the top of the island. Next, underneath of it, where you go down into cave systems, you'll see Tier 2, Tier 3, and Tier 4. And this will be across all islands at a later date once they implement the other tier systems. But for right now, all beginners always start on a Tier 1. Now, once we actually get into the game, we see this, the getting started. This is pretty much something you really want to spend some time with and actually read. And this is what you will want to do to actually get started in the game. it is highly advisable to follow this as much as you can, because you're going to need all of these different items to actually stake your claim and get to the point where you can actually start building buildings inside the game. It will basically teach you, how to get around, how to actually do mining, and how to actually create things on the different types of forges and workshops and different workstations here at the central hub. And as I said, it will walk you through all the basic movements and how to get around, what all the different items are, all the little basics all the way through. And for this purpose, I'll be going over some of these things just to kind of get you oriented on where you need to be. And by the end of all this, you'll see all the different stuff, all the things that you can do in the game, and some of the hotkeys are also located in here. Now, once you get started, you'll be on an island somewhere, somehow, and but this place right here is what we call the hub, or also called a spire. Different people call them different things, but this is the central location point of the island. If you press your M key, M as in Mary, you'll actually see, and you can take your mouse wheel and scroll it out and see the full size of the island and basically where you're located. And you can also tilt and pan this and rotate it and actually see the mountain structures and stuff that are on this particular island. You'll also see all these little flags. Now these little flags are claims. These are areas of land that basically have been staked by other players, and the meanings of each of these flags are different. These little red flags like this, that usually means that you as a player have no permissions that have been granted on that claim of any sort. The blue flags, like down in here and here and here and all these right here, there are certain permissions that have been granted on those claims. But for the most part, even if it's blue, there's a lot of times there's nothing you can do on that claim at all. But you can travel over there to it and actually check it out and see how other players have started out and how they've started doing building stuff on their part of the island. Now, if we press M again, it'll take us back into this area, which takes us back to the central hub. Press M again, and you'll notice if we have zoomed in really close, you can see the size of these claims, these rectangular looking boxes. These are the claims that are owned by that particular player. Also, if we back out and zoom up like so, like we had it before, up here at the very top you'll see the show claimable land. If we put a check on that, you can see that all of this is red. And what that means is basically you as a player have nothing that you can do to put down a claim anywhere around those red areas. If you wanted to place a claim, you would want to come out into these open areas all around in here to stake your claim. You can come close to those, but as soon as your claim crosses that red barrier, it won't allow you to place the claim down. Okay? Now, these little red areas that are not the really big square looking ones, those are normally considered the top level of a cave system. And these cave systems will basically allow you to get under the ground and have access to the higher level materials that you will end up harvesting to be able to build with. And we will cover that in the next video on harvesting. So let's get out of here by pressing M, and we'll come back into this area right here. Now, when you start out, you'll have this gathering list. Now, this gathering list is basically a guide on where you need to go and what you need to get to actually access your first claim flag. But there are a lot of things that you can make and actually list in that list onto the side by going down into right here at the bottom. You'll see a shield. If you click that, you'll see recipe journal. Now inside of here, there's a bunch of different things you can actually bring up on that gathering list, such as stuff from the Stone Forge, the Alchemy Station, Tinker's Workshop, or the Outfitter's Table. All four of those are located right here at this hub that we're standing at right now. And that way you can actually find what you need to gather up the resources that you need to create that particular type item. Here in the very beginning, I would advise leaving the claim flag recipe up. Another thing you will want to come down and actually access is, let's scroll down just a moment here. I believe it's in the Tinker's Workshop. You will want to grab one of these Traveler's Grappling Hook. So click on it and hit Start Tracking. And we will scroll down just a little bit more just to make sure I don't miss anything. Then go to the Alchemy Station. We don't need anything from there. But the Outfitter's Table, this is something we will really want to consider about grabbing while we're here. And let me see if there's something in here that we can actually make at a low level. Rare resources, brawn. Let's go with the let's see. Not yet. Not yet. I don't think there's anything else we can really get right now except for maybe the Keen Eye Band, which at this point in time, it's something good to have. So let's go ahead and add that to our list as well. Also, here on the bottom part of the interface, down in here, you'll see this is a hotbar. And this hotbar will allow you to open up your inventory by pressing I, and you can be able to drag items from your inventory down to your hotbar and drop them into place. If you don't want it on the hotbar, drag it off of it and then release out into the open area. You can also drag your various tools that you'll get later on and actually have access to those tools, and those are building tools. But for right now, the only one they give you is Add Tool until you actually place down your first claim. Okay. Also, here in the inventory window, if you click on this next tab right here, this shows a list of all of the items that you can collect in the game currently. Everything from copper all the way down to an artifact fragment. Each of these can be used for various different things to create different items that are in the game. Alright, and that covers pretty much the inventory. If you click your little X, and we still have our little list of the basic little items that we need to collect off the get-go to be able to create the various different things in the game. Now, here at the bottom, we also have this little square, and it's right next to your hotbar, and it shows a material. If we click on this, it brings up our materials window. If we go and click where it says materials, it'll take you to the basics of all the materials that are in the game right now. Metals, wood, stone, and liquid. Inside of stone, it also covers dirt, sand, and a bunch of other different materials that you can be able to build with, even glass. Click on materials, then we have wood. you have all the different types of wood. When you first start cutting trees, the only thing you're going to get are these right here, which are the just wood logs. And you'll have to convert those over into wood planks. And here are all of our basic metals, from the very easiest to find to the very difficult to find. Now, that pretty much covers that portion, other than the little lock key. This little lock key at the very bottom, all the way to the side of your hotbar, you'll see a little lock, and you can actually lock the hotbar so it doesn't, you're not able to drag the items easily off of the hotbar. Now, over on the left hand side, you'll see the help window, which will kind of get you back to the getting started little pop-up, and so you can always go back and revisit it. You have the tech tree, building tips, resource guide, player studio guide, and the combat guide. These are a lot of really good resources to go in there and actually watch these, because these actually show you a lot of really cool tips. In here, this takes us over to the map, and that's this little navigation icon. Here, this key that looks like a little bag down in the lower left, it brings up our inventory. And here, this little house brings up our template window. Templates are something that allows us to save copies of things that we have built so that we can reuse them later. And we'll go over that in a later video. The next one is this little shopping cart. If we click this, it brings up our showcase. The first window that we actually see is the marketplace, and this is where you can actually spin the SC cash or Sony cash to actually purchase different things in the game, whether it be stuff that is player made or things that Sony provides for you to basically get a Kickstarter for different things, such as larger inventory space, larger vault space, or more template space. Those are usually the only things that you would probably be interested in at this point. On the next tab, we have the gallery. And inside the gallery, it basically is a way to find other people's claims, a way to actually access them, visit them, and be able to get around. You can actually click on a particular building, such as this one here, and it brings up this window. This window will allow you to visit the claim, so you can literally go there and actually see what it is that they have built on that claim. Next is the competition page. The competition page is where people have submitted different buildings to different competitions. Here at the very top, you'll see search by category. And if we click this, you can see all of the different competitions that are either currently in play or ones that have actually already been completed. All the ones that are in here right now have been completed. You can also filter once you have made a primary selection of category. The last one is My Store. The My Store is something that allows you to be able to place templates onto the marketplace for other people to actually have access to. And you will have to fill out a tax registration to be able to utilize this part of the functionality. The last is the shield. We used it earlier in the tutorial session, but let's go a little bit more in detail. The top selection is character. You can access this same window by pressing the H key, as pretty much notated here on the very side of the button itself. And this brings up our character sheet. And you can press that same key again, H, to close it. The next one would be in, which will bring up a guild window. which will allow you to create your own guild, or if you're a part of a guild, you can actually see who else is online, and other functionalities. We have already covered inventory. We now have map, which we have covered with the M key. Recipe journal, which I had showed you earlier. We can use the hotkey of L to open that same window. Contacts, which is the K key, which is located up here at the very top. And if you have added people to this, you can actually see them if they have come on or online or not. You have the add friend, and then you have the block list. You can add a friend just by clicking on this little button here with the plus sign and then typing in their name. Then pressing the add key, and it will send them a request for them to add you to their list. And if they are on your list, or if you are on their list, they are on your list, and it will go through the confirmation prompts. And you can also check the show offline here at the bottom. Let's go back into the shield and go down, and we'll actually see the templates window, which we visited earlier by pressing T. And this will show you a list of all the templates that you have created. To create a new one, you will need to have whatever it is that you want to template inside of a selection box, and we will cover this at a later tutorial session. The next is the social media. Social media will actually allow you to take pictures within the game, send out a message, and send it out to some of your favorite social media sites such as Facebook and Twitter. And once you have selected this box, it will prompt you for your password and your username to be able to send it out through the server. The next one is the claim management window. Once you have created a claim and actually placed it down in the world, this will allow you to gain access to your claim to actually find out how much of upkeep that you will need to pay to actually make sure that it doesn't uproot and disappear. This is something you want to visit at least once a day to make sure that your time is not running short and that your upkeep is paid. Consecutive payment of your upkeep will actually eventually, after a certain amount of days, will extend. As long as it's constantly kept up, your actual time will increase over time. Once you have reached 30 days, excuse me, once you have reached 15 days, if I remember correctly, I could be wrong about this. Once you have reached 15 days, you will actually gain up to 20 days. And then after a certain amount of days, you will go from 20 on up to 30, etc., etc. Just to elaborate on how it kind of works. But as long as you have consecutive upkeep over time, you will be able to easily maintain your upkeep. It's kind of difficult at the beginning because you only have 4 days, and as long as you keep that up to date over those 4 days, it will increase. The next tab here is security. This is where you would input a player's name to give them access to your claim so that they can build on it. Up here at the very top, there will be a selection so you can actually open it up to everybody or only give everybody a certain amount of levels of access to your claim. It is best to leave it with no access. Going back down to our shield, the next is the gallery, which we visited once before, which is this right here, the marketplace. And this right here will, like I said, allow you to get from one place to another player's claim and actually see what other people are doing. And then here at the bottom we have options. Here in the options window, you'll actually see all the different things you can turn on and turn off. And this may change. There are some things that they will be adding over time, But for the most part, this is set pretty much the way you need it to begin with. Now, the next thing I want to go over is these workstations. These workstations are going to change. Right now, they are set up in their basic format, and things may move around in some form or fashion over time. But for the most part, this is where you'll come to do to make your different items, such as your copper pick, your iron pick, etc., etc. And we'll go over much of this in our tutorial class for our building tools, or excuse me, our upgrading. And we'll go over most of these different forges and how you get about to get started upgrading to the next level of tools. And the same goes with over here and all these different workshops, such as the Tinkerer's Workshop. It kind of seems like a lot, but once you get around and actually look into them, you'll actually see that most of all of them are kind of set up fairly similar. Different items. If by chance you happen to lose your stone pick and stone axe, this box right here at the hub, you can click on this box and you'll be able to retrieve them. And then this is the last one, which is the outfitter's table, which we have the Kenai band listed, and this is where you would come to make that item. Now, basically getting around is your WSAD keys and your space bar, which is your jump. And this will allow you to get around pretty much, for the most part, anywhere you want to go. Take care when actually coming down mountains and hills. If it's too steep, you will fall and you will die, which will you will actually be forced to return to the hub as your actual grave point or revive point. This right here is a material, and I'm going to take my stone pick and we're going to start doing a little harvesting right here. And you can equip your stone pick by pressing 1, because it is in our number 1 position here on our hotbar. And this is how we will start out actually collecting materials. And if you notice, here at the very top of my gathering list over on the left hand side, you'll see that number slowly climbing as I sit here and swing this this pickaxe at that material. This material is copper. And you can see, if we look around, you can see various different deposits here, right across the way across on that other mountain over here. You'll see all the different copper nodes that you can actually go over there and harvest. So with that, that is the basic introduction to the actual interface here in Landmark. The next in our intro series will actually be the harvesting of materials, where to go, and how to get it. And after that, we'll be going on to the actual upgrading of our different tools using those materials. And then after that, we'll be going into actual claim creation, the different building tools, hotkeys, and the voxel basics. And the combination of those few different tracks, it will get us to where we can actually start doing more and more inside the game. And with that, I will see you on the next tutorial.